When I was thinking about what I could do for this project about queer of color critique, my mind immediately went to one of my favorite movies of all time, But I'm a Cheerleader. No, it wasn't my sexual awakening. Mine was actually the Ice Princess on Shark Boy and Lava Girl when I was 5, because I also realized I also liked Taylor Lautner in that movie too. I saw But I'm a Cheerleader on my YouTube and I recommend it like all the time and thought it was a lame teen movie from like the 2000s. I only thought this because it was free on YouTube with ads. It wasn't until I came across a TikTok, which is now my Roman Empire, about a short film the creator made. Someone had commented and reminded them of But I'm a Cheerleader, and my love for this TikTok fueled me to open my YouTube at 6:45 on my bus and watch the movie. But I'm a Cheerleader is a movie about Megan, played by Natasha Lyonne, a cheerleader in a very religious family, who gets sent away by her parents to a conversion therapy camp called True Directions, which is ran by Mary Brown and Mike's, who is also played by RuPaul. Megan comes to terms with her sexuality and wants to change so she can go back to her family. Megan meets many people at the camp, one being Graham, who is played by Clea Duvall, and Graham is really real and raw. The two fall in love, and even after they are caught together, leaving Megan to be expelled and Graham to stay because her parents, Megan comes back and convinces Graham to leave with her. When it first released, it was perceived with some negativity. One article I read said, "But I'm a Cheerleader failed to land with critics and stumbled upon initial release," Cook said. "When we say critics, we mean mostly straight critics who had a difficulty with the film. Nowadays, But I'm a Cheerleader is a cult classic, especially popular among the LGBTQ plus crowd. I thought with some topics discussed in the movie, it would be a perfect to perform a queer of color critique on it." So what is queer of color critique? Queer of color critique was first mentioned by Roderick Ferguson. It came from the fact that queer theory was very white at the time and affirmative action was only going towards white people. People of color were just kind of left to fend for themselves when it came to certain issues. Queer of color critique takes mediums like legal docs, movies, and performance and asks how it questions the state, gender, sexuality, and systems of power. It imagines alternatives for our society and its material. Some of the things I will be critiquing in this video is the depiction of gay conversion therapy in the movie and how it differs in our society, the types of cultures and classes displayed in the movie, how gender roles are depicted in the movie, the stereotype of the very feminine boy Andre and the masculine girl Jan, and then I'll conclude while answering questions. So let's get right into it. In the movie, the plot takes place at a gay conversion camp called True Connections. The place is shown as bright and colorful, the tasks the kids could do to become straight are humorous, and there is an entire ceremony congratulating the kids on becoming straight again. This is not how conversion therapy actually is, however. Many conversion camps are religious and put the kids and teens through a lot of potential trauma. Many people who have experienced conversion camps have explained to have PTSD and claim they were put through hell. The downplaying of what real conversion camps are like actually can be harmful, as people who aren't educated may get the wrong idea and send their kids to conversion camp because they believe it could work and miss the entire point of the movie. It is a comedy, but people should still be careful of the representation. Throughout the movie, we see all kinds of people. The cast is somewhat diverse due to it being smaller. One of the stereotypes we see is the very religious stereotype. Megan is a Christian girl, and we see her religion play into a little things she does. Like when she goes to pleasure herself, she prays, and when she starts realizing her feelings for Graham, she prays. She also makes a cheer about God. Another character that falls into the stereotype is Joel. He is a gay Jewish kid. The only thing I see really interesting about Joel is that he really wants to stop because of his family and his religion, and actually passes the course. Megan's Christianity plays into a big role of how she interacts with everyone. She even justifies her not being homosexual because she's Christian, saying she hasn't had sex because she's Christian and she can't be homosexual because she's Christian. Another thing I also noticed is how class plays into this. Graham obviously comes from a very well-off family. Her father talks about how much she's paying for this program and telling Graham if she doesn't get fixed, she gets no college, no car, and no trust fund. Understanding that Graham feels her only way to succeed is through her father's money explains why she doesn't go with Megan in the beginning when she gets caught. Another character that should be brought up is Sinead. Sinead's character is very goth of the late 90s. She's very rebellious, and we see her character just likes pain. The only change we see in Sinead is when she gets jealous of Graham and Megan because she had a crush on Graham. She tells on both of them for hooking up, and at the end of the movie we see she drops all the goth makeup and is turned into a very girly character and passes the test. It's like she realized that she doesn't want to be gay anymore because she got her heart broken by a girl. Andre is another character I believe is very interesting. His parents are shown obviously foreign, and he is shown to be improper, using profanity, and even Mike commenting on him using a double negative. He is the only one not to pass the program and makes the last person of color to either be kicked out of the program or not eligible to graduate. This leads me to race, in which all the people of color get either kicked from the program or either leave the group, leaving the only people left to graduate as all white. This is probably unintentional, but I can see it as white people are the only ones mostly driving the no homosexuals. So for them converting, it makes sense. But also the people of color are kicked out of there for stupid reasons, such as Dolph being kicked because he started an interaction with Clayton, or Jan realizing she's not even gay and wanting to leave, which leads me to my next point. I find both Jan and Andre's characters very intriguing. Jan is perceived as a butch lesbian, but it isn't until later we start to realize Jan may not be gay, as she says, "I like balls," during the root finding, which is an activity that the kids do to figure out how they were gay. And at Cocksuckers, she doesn't dance with another girl. She dances with Andre, who is okay with dancing with her because she looks like a dude anyway. But I also like to think that Andre is just being a good friend. We see Jan break down about actually being straight and that she's only perceived as lesbian because of the way she dresses and she plays softball. Mike only justifies her being gay because she was molested and looks very masculine. Even when she quits, Mike says, "Who are you trying to fool?" Andre is portrayed as a very feminine boy, but he's actually gay. He goes to a gay bar with only girls, he's very flamboyant, and he even dresses very feminine when they go out. He doesn't pass the program because he is apparently too far gone and did not pass any of the tasks which are made to make him a man. He's almost not allowed to become straight because he is too feminine. I feel like Judith Butler would have something to say about both of them. Judith Butler may say that both of these are very intriguing topics because not only is Jan not even gay, she just presents as a very masculine person. And Andre is gay, but he likes being very feminine. We see that clothes should not be gendered. And like Judith Butler says, there should be no emphasis or put on what gender is. Gender and sex do not exist. So it should not matter what the two characters wear or do. They're just who they are. This perfectly fits into the next point. Gender roles are pushed throughout the entirety of the conversion camp experience. The tasks they do, such as changing a diaper, playing football, and putting on makeup, are all related to the gender they are. They even wear the respective pink for girls and blue for boys to further enhance this. It's like the camp is pushing that if you're gay, you're only gay because you're not acting like your gender. This relates back to performativity because Judith Butler says that we see these things that we've taken over time and created them into what we would consider part of a gender role. So the things such as diaper changing and vacuum cleaning or playing football and shooting a gun are just further enhancing these performative acts. This also relates back to sexology, and where a lot of scientists were claiming that if you were not performing acts of a woman or a man, you were or perceived yourself as more masculine or more feminine, you were probably a deviant. I mentioned the root ceremony earlier, and Megan claims her root had came from when her mom had to go to work while her dad stayed at home. So she felt like her mom being the man of the house influenced her to be gay. This also reinforces the claim I made earlier about being gay means you're less of a man or a woman, because Megan claims she got confused, and Mary tells her that because she saw her dad being the girl, it made her want to act more masculine like her mom, and that's why she's gay. My last and favorite display of gender roles are the XX gays, Lloyd and Larry. They were in True Directions and then became gay again. You see, Larry is obviously the very manly gay, and Lloyd is the more femme. Until one scene after Megan is pulled from New Directions, she goes to their house, Lloyd and Larry have an argument, and you see Lloyd and Larry kind of switch roles, where Larry is all soft and sweet, and Lloyd seems more of the tough one. I just think that's interesting, as they have been pushing the gender roles the whole movie, and then have Lloyd and Larry kind of show that there is no such thing as gender roles. I personally love this movie. It always makes me laugh, and I genuinely think people should watch it once in their lives. Do I think it's progressive? I would say yes and no, just because it was progressive at the time, but it doesn't touch on a lot of other issues than being gay. But it is a comedy, so what do I know? Watching this through a queer of color critique lens has taught me a bit more about the movie and made me ask questions. So I want to thank you for coming along and enjoying my video essay about But I'm a Cheerleader. Thank you and have a nice day.